Hello and welcome to John Allen Outside. As you recall, this spring I did the first 456 miles of the Arizona Trail, but like many hikers this season, I ended at Pine because of the snow and flooding up on the Mogollon Rim. Now that the hot summer weather is starting to cool off, I'll be soon heading back to Pine to continue north to the Utah border. When I got home, I reviewed my gear and I ended up making a bunch of changes, 10 to be exact. In this video, I'm going to walk through each of those changes and explain my rationale. I'm going to start with some new gear that I picked up this summer that I'll be adding to my kit. First off is a new pair of wind pants. For my birthday, my wonderful wife got me a pair of Enlightened Equipment Copperfield wind pants. These things are super light at 1.1 ounces and take up almost no space in my pack. Mornings can be very cold in the desert, and I often found myself starting in pants only to have to change into shorts about an hour later when the sun came up. That whole process of taking my pack off, changing clothes, that got to be pretty annoying. However, with these wind pants, I can wear them over my shorts, and then when it warms up, I can just slide them off right over my shoes, and they're so small I can put them into the hip belt pocket of my pack and keep going without ever needing to take my pack off. Another benefit to the wind pants is that I can use them for a bit of extra warmth on colder nights. Keep in mind, these are wind pants and definitely not rain pants. They might work to keep me dry in a light rain, but I did a long hike wearing these things on a very rainy day to test them out, and I can tell you they are not rain pants. As you can see in this video, they are soaked through and clinging to my legs, and if it was a cold day and windy, I'd be freezing in these things. I also tested them out over long pants by spraying myself with a garden hose, and my pants were just completely soaked. So bottom line, these are to keep me warm, not dry. Next, I picked up a new toiletries bag. In the past, I've kept my toiletries in a mesh bag, but I found that the mesh wasn't keeping my stuff as clean as I would like. This summer, I picked up a new one from Z-Packs, and the thing weighs nearly nothing and feels like a pretty nice gear upgrade. My next change relates to my contact lenses. When I first started backpacking, I wore 2-week disposables, but in order to reduce the risk of infection caused by reusing them over and over, I switched to daily use contacts and just toss them at the end of every day. However, this means I'm carrying a bunch of lenses, sometimes 20 pairs or more due to resupply logistics. It also creates a lot of extra garbage that I gotta carry around. The biggest issue though is how difficult it is for me to get these things into my eyes on cold, dark mornings. It's just a real pain. To make matters worse, one morning on the Arizona Trail, I had one slide under my eyelid, and it took until the afternoon until I was able to get it out. When I got back home, I asked my eye doctor about extended wear lenses that you leave in for 30 days, no daily in and out routine. So although she was not a big fan of wearing them for the full 30 days, she did like my compromise of taking them out when I'm in town and just wearing my glasses that day to let my eyes rest. I usually hit a town at least once a week, so I think that's going to work out great. I tested them out on some shorter hikes this summer and loved not having to deal with taking them out and putting them in every single day. I also realized that when I get up at night to go to the bathroom, I can actually see the stars, which is great. I'm also looking forward to not carrying around a huge pile of disposable contact lenses and not having to send them in my resupply boxes. So those are some new things I'm taking with me. Now let's talk about some gear that's not making the trip this time. The first piece of gear I'm not taking with me are my rain pants. I've been using Frog Tog rain pants for years. They get the job done, but they also take up a lot of room in my pack, and they weigh 4 ounces. Although they rarely get used, at times rain pants can be very important for staying warm and dry. So fortunately, I have another piece of gear in my pack that can serve the same purpose, and that piece of gear is my Polycryo tent footprint. For light rain, I'm just going to walk in my shorts, but if there's a heavy rain, instead of putting on my rain pants, I'm just going to wrap my tent footprint around my waist and tuck it into my shorts like a rain kilt, and that's going to keep me nice and dry. There's really no reason to carry rain pants when my tent footprint can do the exact same job. The next piece of gear I'm leaving at home is my running tights. I didn't use these at all this spring on the Arizona Trail, and I had them in case it got very cold at night. I was just kind of worried about super cold temperatures, but I found that even when it was cold enough to freeze my water bottles, I was still warm in my quilt. it would have had to be under 20 degrees Fahrenheit before I'd even consider wearing those running tights. Plus, if needed and it gets really cold when I go out there again, I'm just gonna put on my new wind pants if I need the extra warmth. This is gonna save me 7.4 ounces and reduce the bulk of my clothing bag. Another piece of gear that's staying at home is my water bottle holder. I normally carry a water bottle holder that attaches to the shoulder strap on the front of my pack. This gives me quick access to water, but I find that it bumps into my arms while I'm walking and gets in the way when I'm trying to take my pack off or put it back on. I've been going without it on my practice hikes and find that I can easily access my water bottle from the side of my pack, and it just feels more comfortable and free without that extra bulk on my shoulder strap. So based on that, I'm leaving the water bottle holder at home. My homemade windscreen is also not making the trip. I used this on the Arizona Trail and it ended up pretty much falling apart after a few weeks. I thought about trying a new design, but I decided I'm just gonna use my previous method of rocks, trees, or gear to block my stove from the wind. The homemade windscreen looked good on paper, but didn't work out on the trail. Now that we're through the things I'm leaving at home, let's talk about some nutritional changes I'm making. I've been losing way too much weight on my longer backpacking trips and feel that I need to try something different with my diet. So first off is breakfast, the foundation of my day. A typical breakfast for me has been 2 protein bars. These are about 20 grams of protein each and 200 to 300 calories. So let's just call it 40 grams of protein and 500 calories. This is usually fine for the first week or two, but then once hiker hunger sets in, it's just not enough. I've been experimenting with my own special oatmeal mix and I think I found a winner. Here is the recipe I'm gonna be using. I start out with a half cup of instant oats. I throw in a pack of Carnation Breakfast Essentials strawberry flavor, a handful of glazed pecans, a handful of granola, a tablespoon of Nido, which is like a dried milk, and 1 teaspoon of peanut butter. This packs around 800 calories and about 25 grams of protein, so a bit less protein, but a lot more calories, and it tastes amazing. The downsides to this are 1, I might get sick of it. 2, now I have to cook in the morning. And 3, I'm gonna need to be creative in trying to build this recipe when doing a resupply in town. The next nutritional change is to add daily vitamins. One issue I ran into toward the end of my time on the Arizona Trail this spring was that I really felt off, like I wasn't getting enough nutrition. It's hard to describe, but I knew my body wasn't getting everything it needed. To address this, I'll be taking a magnesium supplement and a multivitamin every day. I'll find out if this is enough, but it can't hurt. And I'm also gonna be eating more fresh fruits and vegetables when I get into town. I found that I was really craving fruit, which means my body was trying to tell me something. Along the same lines, the next nutritional thing I'm changing is my trail mix recipe. Trail mix is the main snack I eat throughout the day as I hike. I always keep a bag of it in my hip belt pocket and I grab a handful anytime I feel hungry. The old recipe was 1 part honey roasted peanuts, 1 part M&Ms, 1 part Reese's Pieces, and a half part cranberry raisins. This ended up being way too sugary. It tasted good, but too sugary. So this summer I experimented with a new recipe that is 1 part honey roasted peanuts, 1 part honey roasted mixed nuts, 1 part peanut butter M&Ms, and a half part of cranberry raisins. More protein, less sugar, and I found that it was a lot more filling than my old recipe. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it performs for me on an extended hike. In my opinion, getting proper nutrition is critical on long hikes, and I'll report back on whether these changes made a difference after my trip. So those are my changes for the Arizona Trail for this fall. It's hard to believe how much I keep dialing in my gear, and I'll probably have a few additional changes once I finish the trail. I can't wait to get back out there, and I'll start publishing trip videos when I get back home. If you'd like to see what's happening while I'm out on the trail, I'll be posting periodic updates on Instagram. As always, if you found any value in this video, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks, and we'll see you out on the trail.